All right, let's get right into it. We're going to break down the incredible wisdom of one of the all-time legendary traders, Jesse Livermore. And we're going to focus on the one question everybody has. How in the world did he spot those giant market-shaking moves way before anyone else?
It's a question that probably drives you crazy. You see a stock or maybe the entire market just take off like a rocket, but you only see it in the rearview mirror. You had a feeling something was up, but you missed the boat. Why does that keep happening?
And look, Livermore himself said it best. The real life-altering money isn't in grabbing a few bucks here and there. It's made by catching and riding the major trends. And the thing is, he believed seeing them wasn't magic. It was a skill you could learn. So let's start with where almost everyone goes wrong. According to Livermore, the biggest reason people are blind to these huge moves isn't that they don't have enough info. No, it's a problem of focus. It's about where you're putting your attention. This right here nails the mistake perfectly. Just picture it. You're glued to your screen, watching every little price tick up and down, just praying for a tiny pop. When you're that zoomed in on the little stuff, the crumbs, you become completely blind to the massive storm building just over the horizon. You're so lost in the noise, you can't possibly hear the signal. Okay, so if watching every tick is the wrong way, then what's the right way? Well, it's all about learning to listen to what the market is actually telling you. Because in Livermore's view, the market doesn't whisper its secrets, it shouts them. And this is the first huge key. Forget the news, the analyst reports, the chatter online for a second. That's all secondhand information. The real first clue is what he called the market's character. In other words, how does a stock behave? How does it act when the pressure is on? And this is exactly how you see it play out. Let's say a company reports awful news, a terrible earnings report, and the stock barely budges. Or maybe it even ticks up a bit. That, my friend, is serious strength. It's telling you someone with very deep pockets is quietly buying up every share they can. Now flip it. A company announces the best news ever, and the stock just sputters and can't get going. That's weakness. The big money is using the good news as a cover to sell. That action, that's the truth. And that really is the heart of it all. The price action itself is the #1 leading indicator. It's the footprint in the sand left by the people who know what's really happening. By the time that truth becomes a headline in the news, the big move is often already well underway. Okay, so you've done the work. You've spotted a stock with incredible character, you're in. But that's only step one. Now comes the part that Livermore said was, without a doubt, the hardest part of the entire game. This is probably his most famous quote, and man, is it powerful. See, getting into the right trade is one thing, but having the guts and the discipline to stay in it, to sit on your hands and just let the real trend play out without letting your nerves get the best of you, that is where fortunes are made. I mean, does this little cycle look familiar to you? I bet it does. You do all the hard analysis, you nail the entry, and then the market does what it always does. It tests you. There's a small, normal dip, but it freaks you out. Fear kicks in and you punch out of the trade. You take a tiny little profit, you feel relieved, and then you watch in pure agony as the stock makes the massive run you knew was coming all along. I absolutely love this metaphor. The market is constantly dangling these little, safe, easy profits in front of your face. They feel good, they feel secure, but if you're constantly taking them, you're just eating crumbs. And it guarantees you will never be at the table for the feast, that 20, 50, or 100-point move that actually changes the game. Seriously, think about it for a second. That one trade, the one that could have been massive, but you got scared and talked yourself out of it way too early. You know, that feeling stings way more than being wrong, because you were right and you still didn't get paid. That's the heavy price of impatience. So we need to read the market's character, and we need the patience to sit tight. But there's a third crucial piece to this puzzle. You have to have the raw courage to act on your own analysis, especially when it feels like everyone else on the planet thinks you're insane. And Livermore was crystal clear about this difference. He never, ever thought of himself as a gambler. A gambler throws a dart based on a hunch or hope or fear. A speculator is like a detective. They wait, they observe, they gather clues, and they only make their move when the weight of the evidence, the market's character, is overwhelming. It's a calculated strike. And this really gets to the psychological toll of being right before everyone else. When you're early, the crowd isn't patting you on the back. They're not cheering you on. They're probably calling you an idiot. You have to get comfortable standing all by yourself, trusting what you see over what they're saying. But let's be very clear, this isn't reckless courage. It's courage that is handcuffed to iron discipline. You act, and you act decisively when the evidence is on your side. But you always know your exit point before you get in. You protect your line, and if the market tells you you're wrong, no ego, no hoping. You just get out, clean, fast, and you move on. And this brings us to the final and without a doubt the most profound point in Livermore's entire philosophy. After you learn how to read the market and you develop patience and you find your courage, you eventually realize the biggest fight isn't against the market at all.
And really, it all comes down to this. You can master every single chart pattern. You can learn every analytical tool ever invented. But if you have not mastered yourself, you will lose. The market is just the arena where your own internal weaknesses get exposed.
And these right here, these are the true enemies. It's not some hedge fund manager on the other side of your trade. It's your own fear, your own greed, that terrible impatience, that dangerous hope that a bad trade will turn around. It's your ego that needs to be right, and that deep human instinct to run with the herd for safety. These are the things that will take you down. You have to remember, the market is totally impersonal. It is not out to get you. It's just a force of nature, like the ocean tide. It doesn't know you exist. It doesn't care about your portfolio. Success doesn't come from trying to control the ocean. It comes from controlling your reactions to it. And that's really the ultimate question that Livermore's work forces us to ask. When you look at your trading account, you're not just looking at numbers on a screen. You're looking in a mirror that reflects your discipline, your patience, your fear, and your greed with brutal honesty. The market shows you exactly who you are. The real question is, are you ready to face that reflection?
Master your trading rhythm, right here with Dollars and Decisions. For more insights, please like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell icon.
And always remember, build your process, trade with clarity. See you next time.